Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Then Happy New Year to you and your family from Yamato. So welcome to this workshop that we are doing on Biangbiang noodles. For those of you who don't know what Biangbiang noodles are, these are the hottest Chinese noodles that have been trending for quite a while. A lot of our customers have been asking us to see how they can make Biangbiang noodles on their, Iman noodle machine. So we decided to do this Biangbiang noodles on Richmen Gold 2 machine, which is the most advanced noodle machines that we have for commercial noodle production and micro noodle factory business. Um, so I've created some slides for you to better understand what Biangbiang noodles are and then how we can make them from scratch, right? And then Megumi is going to make Biangbiang noodles later on our Richmen Gold 2 machines. And then Mr. Song, our school instructor, is going to show us how we can cook bianbian noodles, right? The dish in our kitchen. So let me go through some slides first, and then we'll get to dive into making bianbian noodles. Okay, on Richmond Gold 2. So let me show you some slides first, and then let's start making bianbian noodles on Richmond Gold 2 machine. So um, yeah, bianbian noodles being like very popular Chinese noodles, and then there are so many popular types of Chinese noodles out there. Well, we have Hong Kong wonton egg noodles, right? We did like in a previous workshop a couple of weeks ago. Ranjo ramen, it's like that's the oldest type of Chinese noodle like we can find in the current world, right? And then that's been pretty popular across the world. And then, well, of course, like traditional chow mein style noodles, right? And then, yeah, Vietnamese noodles, and then all these different types of Chinese noodles are basically, well, handmade noodles, right? And then this particular type of Chinese noodle, like Biangbiang noodles, are it's has this like very complicated looking kanji characters assigned to it, and then so I think these kind of characters like probably come from what they mean by like kind of the sound that of making these noodles, right? Kind of like beating this dough up against the wok table or something, into noodles, biang biang, but these noodles are very interesting, and then because they are just handmade, right? So handmade noodles are so they're typical. Like, they need to be soft, right? They need to be soft to be able to like for us to be able to like process them by hand. So that means that they belong to higher hydration range of the noodles, right? In this chart. So yeah, Richmond go-to machines like are designed for production of ramen noodles and then hard noodles. So hard noodles, so basically we're talking about like 25% of the hydration. So 25% hydration means like 25% to the weight of the solid ingredients. So let's say like for example like so you have solid ingredients of like 1 kilogram solid ingredients, right? 1 kilogram of wheat flour, then you're adding like 250 grams of liquid or water, right? So that's what the 25% of hydration means, right? And then but Biangbiang noodles belong to this hydration range, the noodles, right? So we are talking about like around 40% to like even like 45%. So because they're soft, people, I mean, we'll be able to like process them by hand, right? So what's great about ramen machine, our ramen machines is that like, well, these machines can handle this very low hydration ratio noodles, as well as this level of high hydration ratio noodles as well, like like Biangbiang noodles. Yeah, and then let me explain about ingredients, and basically this is the recipe of Biangbiang noodles. And so first of all, like wheat flour, right? Wheat flour. Then kind of wheat flour we want to use is kind of in the middle of kind of medium range, like protein content. not too hard, not too soft, 8 to 9%, or a little bit more maybe. Again, like, soft. They need to be soft to be for us to be like process by hand, right? So not too hard, not too soft, but because we want some chewiness and a hardness, firmness, right? So it, it, it shouldn't be that soft, right? So, but protein content depends on the final noodle texture we want. So, we want to use probably 8%, 9%, depending on the, final texture you want to have in your Biangbiang noodles. And then water, right? So water, for the ones we are gonna make, right, on Richmen Gold 2 is around 45% or so. But it depends on the flour we use as well, because depending on flour, the water absorption rate, varies, right, from flour to flour. So, we probably adjust the water content as well for the flour, right? And the salt, right? We use salt, but nothing else. Like just so flour and water and salt, and so 1% of the weight of flour. So it's very, very simple recipe, you know. And so wheat flour, right? Just getting to like kind of detail each ingredient, right? So protein, again, like protein hardness, right? So higher the protein, the harder the higher the protein, harder the noodle texture. Ash content, we want to have flour with that low ash content because we want the probably noodles to be white, right, in color. But probably we won't have like kind of like darker, because ash is basically minerals. Higher the ash, the healthier the noodles, right? So for this, if you wanna healthier noodle, like you could have like probably higher ash content. And the viscosity value, that's basically measures how elastic the noodle is going to be. So, you probably want to have higher viscosity value. Then when you're thinking about, well, making your noodle recipes, you want to have, these 5 variables in mind, right? So again, protein content flour, higher, harder, right? And then viscosity in the starch, right? Higher, better, chewier. Hydration, right? Higher, softer. So Biangbiang noodles, like that's 40 to 45% or even higher, right? And noodle size, thickness should be well, and then width, right? So you know, bigger the harder, right? And then how you're gonna serve the Biangbiang noodles is again like important thing, structuring the noodle recipe as well. Like when you're serving them cold, then it's gonna be hard, right? So you want the probably you want the noodle size to be adjusted accordingly, right? And hydration, so these are high hydration noodles, and then well, higher the hydration, then you want that noodle to be well, these are high hydration noodles, so like 40% over 40%. So the condition of dough varies from hydration to hydration. So and then ingredients wise, water. So the Biangbiang noodles don't have any kansi or anything but the salt, right? So when you're cooking the Biangbiang noodles in water, the salt is gonna well dissolve in the cooking water, right? So, but if we have if you cook them in hard water, then it takes time, right? Longer time to cook Biangbiang noodles. So we want to use soft water to cook the Biangbiang noodles. So soft water. And so salt, lastly the salt, right? So salt basically does like tighten the gluten and then make noodle, dough from, yeah, basically more firm, right? And then keeps bacteria from growing and then keep dough longer from getting spoiled. And then salt does, slows down activity of the enzyme containing wheat, right? And then salt stabilizes the dough against temperature fluctuations. And then it keeps dough from breaking when dry. So, and then lastly, like it adds salty taste to the noodles. And then it's 1%, so like you can't get it wrong. But like if you want to use this kind of tool to measure the salt density, right, then you can do it like in this kind of tool with Flugmeter. So getting into the production processes, right? So weighing the ingredients is the most important process, right? You can't miss it. If you make mistakes in measuring ingredients, right, and the ratios, then everything else, the rest of the process doesn't matter, right? So so 40 hydration ratio, getting the hydration ratio is like very important. Like for example, like that's 42%, but if you make mistake and then you measure it to like 40%, 41%, then the condition of dough, right, noodle texture will be like so different, right? So you wanna get it right. And so this is the process to make dough, right? So first of all, like mixing process is the most important, well, like the second most important process. Um, so mixing process like making dough, right? It's very important to basically hydration process. So what's happening like in the hydration process, mixing process, agitation, granulation process. So each particle of flour, like well, becomes bigger and bigger, right? Then as the agitated it as the mixing process like agitates the wheat flour and the salt water, right? So it becomes kind of bigger and bigger like naturally. So that's how the hydration happens, right? And then after that, we want to put on a plastic bag and rest it. And then, well, we want to rest it because we want to promote hydration, further hydration, and then want to degas it because there are a lot of air pockets right in the dough, right? So when we cook the noodles later, these air pockets burst, right? And so that's going to ruin the noodle texture. So want to degas it, and then the resting process promotes better with flavor. That's a good thing. And then it relaxes the internal stress of the dough. So, we get all these four benefits by resting the dough. And then, well, there's a correlation between like temperature and time in the resting process. So, this is optimal temperature and the optimal time, 20 degrees Celsius like for 2 hours, things like that, right? So we want to remember, to get that great noodle texture. So, but Richmen Gold to how we work the dough, right? Um, is that like we're gonna after mixing like we have this dough, right, crumbles dough, and then we're gonna feed it to roller and then make the sheet of dough, right? And then we're gonna separate it. And then two separate sheets of the dough, we're gonna combine them through a roller to make it stronger, right? So that's how we work the dough, make the dough firmer. And then so after that, just gonna all we do is just thinning, right? Thinning, cutting, portion, resting, and cooking. And I want to touch on like hydration ratio and dough size, right? So higher the hydration, the bigger the size of dough. So the smaller the roller size that we want to use, right? But like, well, Richmen Gold 2 has like very big rollers, right? Big rollers, because they're designed to process like well, harder dough, right? But we could still process this type of high hydration dough. I mean, yeah, hydration dough, right? But 40 to 45%, probably up to 45%, because well, it's a design like to be flexible to process this type of dough as well. And then so finally, we're gonna thin it and then cut it, right, and portion it. But you're gonna use this kind of cutter, slither cutter, right? And then there are so many types of slither cutter and so many different sizes, so many different shapes, right? Then so we're gonna cut it and then thin it, right? So the thickness is determined by this roll gap, right? And the width is determined by the cutter. And of course, there's a cutter that's so basically Biangbiang noodle. There are many probably versions of Biangbiang noodles. So, but the one we're going to make is that width is 30 millimeter, right, and the thickness 1.8 millimeter. But we don't have that 30 millimeter cutter with us right now at the moment. So we want to cut it by hand, but like there's definitely 30 millimeter cutter and then even like wider cutter as well. So yeah, you can definitely just cut it just by machine, right? Rather than like manually by hand. But anyway, so cooking noodles, right, is also very important process to get that great noodle texture. I mean, cooking noodles, makes or breaks the noodles. Biangbiang noodles. So the point is that like gelatinization, right? Gelatinization, like you want to gelatinize the noodles, otherwise the noodles are raw, right? So started noodles take upon liquid and swell upon the heating and becomes kind of clear gel like texture, right? So for that to happen, like we want to have like boiling water, it has to be like the water must be like well above like certain temperature and boiling, right? And also like getting right texture. So how the noodles cooked and get soggy, right? So the soup or boiling water, cooking water, like penetrates the noodles from the side, right? The cut surface, and then gets cooked, and then but when people say like it's al dente texture, there's still like a core, right? That's still raw, but over time that the core right gets soggy, right? Gets penetrated with the water, and then or soup, and then gets soggy and soft, right? So it loses that texture, and so you want to kind of estimate, okay, how long it's going to take to for the customer to actually bite into the noodles, and then so you want to calculate that to be to cook the noodles to like a certain point, and then you want to stop it, and then so Biangbiang noodles, right? 30 millimeter width and 1.8 millimeter thickness, right? So even though like thickness, like width is like so big, right? So it takes time, right? It takes time to cook. It takes So in our case, like it takes about like 5 minutes to cook. Okay, so yeah, so that's about like Biangbiang noodles, right? And then we're gonna make them later on Richmen Gold 2, and then before we start making Biangbiang noodles on Richmen Gold 2, I want me to spend just a few minutes to talk about it. So Richmen Gold 2 has been like very popular piece of equipment that our customers have been using for micro noodle factory machine, and then small to mid production for ramen restaurants, and then like Chinese restaurants, and then even like pasta, fresh pasta, that because they make very good fresh pasta as well. But like three vital strengths that it has, right, for that popularity is ease of use and versatility, then built-in noodle making techniques that Richmen Gold 2 has, and then so ease of use. So Richmen Gold 2 is being like designed for economical, you know, yeah, the strength, like what that in mind, right? So they're designed very low height, and then has very low height, right? So 25 kilogram silky mixer that's often being used in combination with Richmen Gold 2 is just 34 inches high, right? Or like 86 centimeters high, right? And then Richmen Gold 2 like 34.5 inches high. So that makes a big difference, right? Imagine like you have to lift, bag of flour, 50 pounds flour, right, every single day to, 20 centimeters even higher than, this height, right? And then, every time like make a batch, right? So that's a lot of like heavy lifting you have to do, right? But like with this height, it makes it so much difference between like imagine like 1.2 meter or something, like you have to lift right over, and then 86 centimeters, that makes a big difference. And then you you know Richmen Gold 2, like you just have to lift a little bit higher to place the dough into the machine. So low height is not one thing that like makes everyday noodle production easier. The automatic feeder Richmen Gold 2 has is very convenient. So once you place the dough on Richmen conveyor, right, and then you don't have to do anything, right? The rest of the process is automatic. Thanks to all these sensors, that measures of like how much dough is going in, and then all these sensors that like protect you from the getting injured in, yeah, when you are well feeding the like in conventional machine, like you have to feed the dough by hand, right? And then but Richmen Gold 2, like it's automatic. It's all automatic, so it's very and it's safe, and then it's very convenient, practical. Another thing is that, well, so in conventional machines, usually you have that where you catch the noodles, right, is set like a really low point, right, low, right. So like um, you have to like be like kind of bending over, to catch noodles, right, and kind of very awkward posture. So often what happens is like workers like get hard their backs, and then complain, and then but like with the Richmen Gold 2 machine, it's very high, right? Relatively high position, so 5 centimeters high from the ground. So you can just sit right in chair in front of it, and you just catch noodles comfortably, right? So um, lastly, right? So there's touch panel that you can pretty much control everything, right? And then you can see everything like that's going on in the machine during operations, like set roll gap, set roller speed, right? So like you can even diagnose like what when there's a trouble in the machine, like you can diagnose what's wrong with the machine, like in this touch panel. So versatility, right? Versatility, like it's very versatile. The flexible, the variety of sizes and shapes that Richmen Gold 2 is capable of making, right? And again, like this chart, right? Hydration is a key. So wide range of hydration, Richmen Gold 2 is capable of covering, right? So conventional pasta machines are capable of making like noodles that are 32% or 36% hydration ratio. It's very narrow range, but Richmen Gold 2 is capable of covering 25 to up to like 45% hydration ratio. So Hakata tonkotsu noodles, right? That's the most popular type of ramen noodles in the world. Very low dry noodles, right? To fresh pasta, to shoyu ramen, and then even like to udon, and then biangbiang noodles, of course, high hydration noodles. So very big difference, right, between like these different conditions over there. They're flexible, and then as you can see, this the different color, different flavoring ingredients. It's very easy to make them on Richmen Gold 2 machines. So finally, the built-in noodle making artisan techniques, like technologies like built in to Richmen Gold 2. This is very yeah. So this is like how Richmen Gold 2 allows like anyone without any, regardless of any experience, like regardless of like any skill, prior skills, to be able to like make noodles that are as good as well, noodle maker, professional noodle maker with over 10 years of experience are capable of making, right? So and then it's safe, right? So it's very, I mean, it gives you peace of mind, like okay, you just hire this guy like yesterday, and then you can just put this guy in, on the operation of Richmen Gold 2, and expect him to be able to make very good noodles, and then without getting injured, right? So that's what, like well, ease of use, flexibility, versatility, and then these built-in technologies that allow anyone to be able to make great craft noodles is a key. Has been like a key to the popularity of Richmen Gold 2 machines for many businesses. And yeah, so Richmen Gold 2 is actually available for demo in a special workshop in Houston, Texas, our office. Right? And then I think attending this kind of like online workshop is great. You can get a lot of information, knowledge, right? But nothing is better than actually going to one of these workshops, or attending private demos, then actually experience the machine, right? And then taste the fresh noodles and talk to the professionals, right, in person. Um, get more information. Um, actually experience, right? Noodles, fresh made on these Richmen Gold 2 machines. So, and then, yeah, so we have a special workshop coming up, right? Later this month, like 27th, 28th, right? Our office and showroom in Houston, Texas. And so you get all the benefits of like the knowledge of noodle making techniques. You can get to feel and touch the flour dough, right? Then get to taste the noodles freshly made on the Richmen Gold 2 machine, and then Richmen Gold 1 even we have in our office, right? So that for all that, right? Just for $60 per attendee, so like it's a steal. So please think about coming to our Houston, Texas office. We have a page set up for you to sign up for your seat, right? We have very few seats left because we have a limited space, right? So please, go to our website, yamatonoodle.com, to sign up for your seat. And then, other than if you can make it on these dates, right? You can get appointment for, your private demo. A private demo may be better for you if you're serious about it. I don't know. You can bring your, own flour, local flour, to test out, and then make your own noodles, right? And then, consult with your, your own production project, with a professional that we have office, right? And then for those of you who are watching from, Europe, right? We have a workshop again, like Amsterdam office. The last one we have this month is coming up on 27th. So please sign up for your seat before we run out of seat, right? And then yeah, so that's 50 euros per attendee. So like that again, that's a steal. Please sign up for your seat at yamatonoodle.com. Okay, so let's start making Biangbiang noodles, and then on Richmen Gold 2. So we thought about showing you guys like how we make the dough, but like please refer to other workshops or like our online videos for that. We've done it many times. So to save you guys time, like we made the dough right in advance, right? So this is the 45% ratio dough condition. So again, Richmen Gold 2 is designed, for like easier, like easier like operation, like easier labor, less labor intensive production, right? So anyone can work with this machine like for long hours, so that's important. And then so she placed the dough, right? And then open up the safety gate. So this safety gate is very important for workers' safety, because like if without it, right, workers can put get their hands like caught in the rollers, and then that may result in like serious injury, right? So but opening this gate, and then because but this gate is like very cumbersome, like it's very impractical, inconvenient, because if you close it, and then like this kind of big dough is hard to like be fed into the roller, right? So we can open this gate because we have a sensor that protects the worker's hands from going in, right? It's an invisible sensor that's running, to keep the worker's hands from safety getting inside, right? So we can open this safety gate, and then have a wide entrance for the dough, and then so the dough can be fed into the roll like very easily. At the same time, like it's well or protecting the worker's safety. It's one of the most advanced safety features that commercial noodle machines have, right? And so yeah, Richmen Gold 2 like achieve like both safety and convenience of the production. So it's a very soft dough, right? 45% is very soft. And then that means that like it's easy to break. So we want to have a little bit of care when kind of handling the dough, right? And so we what we just did was called like rough foaming. So we formed the we made like rough sheet of dough that's still fragile. And we want to make him firm, right? Make it firm by basically separate it right into two and then combine them through the roller, right? Combine through roller. So dough's coming out like combined dough. It's coming out and it's definitely more firm than before. So this process is very, I mean, it's vital in creating great noodle texture, chewier, firm, more firm texture. Yeah, so combining. So combining for one time and then for a second time. And then so she pushed this button that says like combining, right? So we're just gonna go to adjusted the roller gap like appropriate like combining. The next roller gap automatically, right? So it's very easy, right? Like you don't have to manually set the roller gap, and then you don't have to remember the formula for that, right? You just have to like remember, okay, just push this button, right? Push this button. So that's why I was saying like you can just put guy who you hired like yesterday to put on operation of this machine, and then you can expect him to make exact same noodles. A guy you have for or 10 years to be able to like make you know same noodles. So as we combine, right, more, we're getting like kind of smoother noodle texture, right? And then so normally so for um normal noodles like regular ramen noodles, right? We usually do this combining process like twice, right? Because that's what we found out um, that we can produce the best result. But like for this Biangbiang noodles, it's different. Like we are not using conceal or anything. Like we're just using like salt, right? And then just 1%. So we do this process like three times. It's an exception that we're making for our method, but let's do it three times. And then again, like she pushed this button, combining process, or combining button. Then we can go to adjust the roller gap appropriately, right? So as we combine more, the the thickness though gets well, it gets bigger and bigger, right? Because we are combining them, right? We're combining them, and then like we're thinning it. We're applying the pressure, but just 30%. Yeah, just reduction of the roller gap, like from previous gap, right? So it's getting thicker and thicker, right? And then so we start dusting from this point on because we are done with the combining process. Just gonna thin it. Just going to thin it, right? Then, so to thin it, so 30% reduction rate. So 30% like thinner than the previous roller gap. And again, so just pushing this one button, that's the thinning. Adjust the roller gap appropriately for the next thinning process. So just thinning, and then you know basically Richmen Gold is just doing this job automatically, and then all we have to do is just kind of manually place the dough back and forth. So let's check the thickness of the dough. 2.9 millimeter after it's gone through 2.6, so about 0.3 millimeter difference, right? Actually, actual dough thickness is like always bigger, right? Always bigger than the roller gap that we said, because it bounces back. And then the final thickness we are aiming at is 1.8 millimeter, like we talked about it, right? So right now it's thinning at 1.8 millimeter, and then so we expect that to be, yeah, we're not sure, but like probably somewhere around like 2.0 millimeter or 2.1 millimeter. The original would go 2 is going faster now because we just thinning, right? Before, when we are doing like combined process, like we are going slow because we want to apply pretty good pressure on the dough, right? To work the dough, develop the gluten, right? Okay, so let's measure it. Okay, yeah, yeah, 2.1. Yeah, that's what we expected. That. Yeah, 2.1. So the final thickness is 1.8. So to get to 1.8, we set the roll gap to 1.5. So we expect that final thickness to be 1.8. Yeah, so the thinning is done, so like it's 1.8 millimeter. And then usually we're just gonna cut it, with this kind of cutter, right? This is number 6. That's the widest cutter we have at the moment. But we're supposed to use this cutter like one 30 millimeter, like number 1 cutter, but we don't have it now. So what we do today is that like we're going to cut it by hand, in the width of 30 millimeter. Yeah, and then um, yeah, we are doing this like manually, right? But we have a very convenient tool that we can, or it's like a drum. Uh, we can widen this dough, right, onto this big drum, right, and then you know that's gonna make the like multiple sheets of dough, right, automatically, and then you know we can make these sheets of dough very quickly. But today we're just kind of doing this manually. But and you can pretty much do the same for gyoza skin, like wonton skin, and then even like ravioli, like kind of like filled pasta, or like lasagna sheet and stuff as well. It's a little bit cumbersome, like if you just have a little bit practice, you can get like really good at it, right? Oh. Yeah, and it's important that we have this um a sheet of dough, like very well dusted, otherwise like they get stuck, right, together, this cutting process. Yeah, and then maybe it's a good idea to have like a ruler or something to make it more precise, right, like 30 millimeters by by each. If you have like some ruler to you know get it get it measured before you cut it, then yeah, you can have like a kind of more consistent, but like best of all, like I mean the I think the best thing you can do is like have the cutter, the sliotar cutter, like number 1, square number 1, or like you could have even like wider cutter, if you want to even make it the bianbian noodles wider. So Biangbiang noodles like usually pretty long. So we'll just have you know have them as they are, and then so one serving maybe I don't know like probably two I mean 4 or 5 strands of these. Okay, so yeah, let's go to a kitchen, right? Where we can show you guys the kitchen where so this is a kitchen where we conduct our ramen school, udon school, soba school, and then it's a very small kitchen, but like we can take up to like 8 students at a time, and so kind of one-to-one session that we do in our ramen school, and then yeah, so and then we have Mr. Sang, right, the instructor, with us like showing us the Biangbiang noodle dish, and then from the cooking, right? So cooking is very important, like as we said, right, as we talked about. Um, we have a cooker, and then see the water is boiling already, right? Water is boiling, that's important. Yeah, so let's get started. And so we're gonna make like 2 types of noodles. So the first one is like a very basic Biangbiang noodles, UFO Biangbiang noodles.
で、もう一つは、ちょっと新しく考えて、ちょっと料理と合わせて、麻婆ビャンビャン麺。
Another one is like something Mr. Song came up with, mapo biangbiang men.
はい。これ多分どこにいてもないのビャンビャン麺と思います。麻婆ビャンビャン麺です。
Yeah, so mapo biangbiang men probably you can't find them like anywhere in the world, but so it's important to stir the noodles, right, until they sort of they get sort of start like kind of swing around on their own.
はい。じゃあ、とりあえず、麻婆ビャンビャン麺の準備をしていきます。
So let me get started with mapo biangbiang men.
で、味噌だれはもう事前に作って、時間かかるから事前に作って、いつでも使えるように。その時作った方が美味しい。
Yeah, so miso tare, right, is like something that we can, we should prepare right in advance because we could you could use it like for a while.
これですね。
The miso, niku miso, like miso with the like ground beef, ground pork sauce. But tofu and stuff like that, like we should make them fresh because they're better.
豆腐も、きめ干し豆腐と木綿豆腐、木綿があるんですけど、今回はきめ干し豆腐は使います。
Yeah, so yeah, there are different types of tofu. Basically they're hard and soft, right? But I use soft tofu this time.
違いはやっぱ硬さですね。
Yeah, so basically like hardness, right? Hardness with the tofu is different.
はい。これ豆腐はとりあえずお湯でちょっと加熱して、それで後の水分出にくいと、なめらか感がよくわかります。
Yeah, so I want to boil the tofu first to get the kind of like water going in there, and then like after that, like we can keep the water out of tofu. So want to boil them first, right? And then over here, yeah, we use this kind of net to capture all the noodles, right, in place. after for a while, after we get that noodles like kind of swing around for a while, right?
その豆腐はどのぐらい加熱するか、どこまで加熱するか多分、質問あると思いますが、これ豆腐は全体的に、ブツブツのダンスみたいなのを、これ動いてるんだったら OK です。
Yeah, so kind of depends on the how big you cut your tofu and stuff, but like how long we should boil is that like well once we start like start seeing like tofu like kind of start like dancing around in there, right, moving around, then it's done. Okay, so draining the tofu out.
これ置いて、後で使います。
Yeah, so I'm gonna use them later. But excuse. Then I'm gonna start heating up oil.
最初は有効面で取ります。
Okay, so first let me make the UFO biangbiang. That's the very basic biangbiang noodles. So the cooking time was 5 minutes, and so take the noodles out and then put them in there, and then so I'm cooking the bok choy and then bean sprouts in the same cooker. Um, Interesting. And then I'm gonna wash the biangbiang noodles a little bit.
麺長いから量も太いし、基本はもう1本が2本ぐらい水面になります。
Yeah, so these noodles are very long, right? So normally just one strand or two strands would be like one serving.
それで長さとかいろいろ見て決めたりで。
Yeah, so you should determine the length of the noodles by that the serving. Maybe like you want just one strand to be one serving. Okay,
これニンニクです。
that's a garlic, minced garlic.
でネギ。
And scallions, right? And then bok choy and bean sprouts that I just boiled. And chili peppers, well, like it's a blend of chili peppers, different types of chili peppers, and soy sauce. then another type of soy sauce.
火入れと火入れてない2種
And then that's the like a fresh and heaty soy sauce. And then that's vinegar.
少し砂糖を入れる。
And then a little bit of sugar.
はい。で、これで加熱した油を
Then uh, then I'm going to add the heated oil.
まあ、煙出るぐらい
Yeah, I want to see some smoke coming out, right? And then yeah, it's done. And then I'm gonna pour it.
はいこれ基本は
So that's the basic Biangbiang noodles. Yeah, Yupo Biangbiang noodles.
はい次は
Okay. Next,
麻婆豆腐やラーメン作っていきます
I'm gonna make my version of Biangbiang noodles, mapo tofu Biangbiang noodles.
これ肉味噌です
So that's the meat miso paste sauce, right? So you can make it, in advance and then keep it and use it for a while.
でさっきの豆腐を
And then add tofu in there.
オイルを
And just a little bit of hot water to dilute the miso paste.
で胡椒
And black pepper,
オイスターソー
oyster sauce.
で塩をし
A little bit of salt.
で塩を
Soy sauce.
この丸い部分で混ぜていきます。これやったら豆腐が潰れるから丸い部分で押していくみたいな。
Yeah, not to break the tofu, not to like crush the tofu, right? I'm kind of stirring it with the like a round part of the ladle.
味に組みますね。
Check the taste.
で、片栗粉で
Then
香りが出します。
yeah, I'm gonna use a potato starch, right? To make it kind of viscous.
一回火を消します。
A ton of heat.
消して、この
Yeah,
片栗粉を入れて混ぜます。
turn off the heat and then add this starch. And then start.
で、また火をつけます。
And then turn on the heat again.
で、白ネギを入れます。
Then we add the minced leek. It's a white part of the leek.
まあ、山椒とかしびれが好きやったらもうちょっとこれ入れても。
And then if you like, kind of numbing sensation from this mapo tofu, then you want to add like a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, now I'm gonna plate it.
まあ、麺少し見えるぐらい。
Yeah, so I wanna plate it like in a way that that just a little bit of noodles are showing.
まあ、これ、はい。
So that's the mapo tofu bianbiang noodles. So probably you cannot find this type of bianbiang noodles like anywhere in the world because I just created, right? So two types of bianbiang noodles. They're both very simple and easy to make. That you can start making and serving at your restaurants from next week, right? So by actually making bianbiang noodles. Yeah, so that was it for this workshop. But bianbiang noodles, it's the hottest Chinese noodles in the world, right? A lot of people are asking us like see like how we can make them and stuff, then but in yeah, it's actually very simple, but like it's very difficult to make them like in quantity, right? Mass quantity. So to make it mass quantity, like with ease, and then if to be able like put anybody, you've got the skill, the experience, right? Prior experience, to be able to like make these fantastic noodles, and then and then other types of awesome udon noodles we did like on Monday, and then different types of Chinese noodles, a variety of ramen noodles, right? And pasta even, Richmen Gold 2 helps you definitely achieve this goal, like mass producing these awesome types of awesome noodles, right? So including bianbiang noodles that we did today. So yeah, so if you, and then we're gonna be putting out like this kind of content like more and more, right? So if you have any like anything that you want us to do, right? Including bianbiang noodles, like different types of Chinese noodles, pasta even, please send us your request in the comment, and then, or send us an email, right? Go to our website and then send us an email or like a contact form, right? So thank you very much for watching this workshop, and then so next week we're going to be doing like different types of noodles again, but like for so please go to our website yamatnoodle.com, and then sign up for the next workshop, and then Yeah, don't forget, right? We have a workshop, a special workshop coming up next week in Houston, Texas, and then yeah, Amsterdam, right? So please sign up for seats before we run out of the seats, right? And we'll have very few seats available left, left available. So thanks so much for watching, and then we hope to see you right back in the next workshop. So thank you so much. Bye bye.